Good evening, everybody. So behind the mask, I'm Debbie Coate, the principal here. I want to give the opportunity right now to let you see some of these scrolling messages, so we'll just let that go for a few more moments. We also have a few cars that have just pulled in, so we're going to give just a little bit of a rain delay, not too much, because we also know that at home we have many of our students and their families joining us live streaming. So in just a few moments as we get started, I want to let you know that the rotation tonight is all about the presenters. We are going to rotate, so you get to be very cozy, very comfy, maybe a little wet where you are, but we will actually be rotating around throughout the evening. This will give you the opportunity to hear from all of the speakers tonight, and also probably something that everybody is looking forward to. Those of you who are with us right now, before you leave today, you'll do everything that's needed in order to get your laptop up and running. Those of you who are watching us out in TV land, you will be making an appointment with Mr. McCrory so that you can come in and get your laptops. So again, I'm going to take a few moments and speak to those who are out watching us virtually, because I do need you to know that in order to acknowledge the fact that you are watching this presentation, and of course it goes for those of you who are with us in person, we want to be sure that there is that acknowledgement done. So those of you watching live streaming, welcome, but I do need you at this time to go to the comments section underneath that YouTube page and be sure that you type in the name of the Clark student. And if there's a parent watching along with, which is mandatory, go ahead and also mark that that parent is watching with a parent name. I've also had some messages that some parents are not in the same vicinity as their young people, so please just enter that separately. But again, this is all about acknowledging that you are watching this presentation virtually. Mr. McCrory definitely wants me to let you know that you need to subscribe to our channel. So those of you who are with us live, sitting here, when you go home tonight, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because the more people we have subscribing to our YouTube channel, the more likely and the more quickly we're going to be able to have the opportunity to actually have a YouTube channel that's called Clark. Right now it's just called Mr. McCrory, and he'd really like it to be called Clark. So in order to just explain a little bit more, we've got 3 consecutive segments that will go on today, and then after that you will have the opportunity to hear more about the laptops, and that is for everyone who's sitting here as well as everyone out in TV land. Or I guess it's really not even TV land, everyone on the internet. Welcome to our new school year. Dream big, because that's what we got to do to make it happen this year. And what we are going to be talking about tonight are all of the absolutes for this year as we move forward. We have a couple of returning students in here as well as in the other rooms. So there is going to be information that I will reference that you remember this. Well, obviously, if you're new to us, you're going to tune in as well, because that's just a reminder to everybody who's returning. But for you, I really need you to be aware of how we do business here. And it might be at times a little bit different than we've done it in the past. I wonder why. And we need you to definitely tune into that, because that is really all going to be about the process and the procedures that we have in place to keep all of you as safe as possible. And by all, I mean our students, of course, our faculty, our staff, and of course parents. We also want you to be safe wherever you're going to be. I am going to ask that you hold question and answer until the end, so if you do have any questions, please hold on to those. Mrs. Decker is in the back with me today. She is going to be part of the presentation as well as my timekeeper, and I'm going to try to make it within 30 minutes. I'd also like to introduce to you this evening, we have Anna Hutchison, who is one of our English Language Arts and Debate teachers, and we also have Mr. Juan Escandon. And he is one of our other English teachers, as well as a teacher of Spanish. And he also is an advisor for yearbooks, so we're happy that they were able to come out this evening as well. The presentation that I'm sharing with you, we're going to have it available for you via our website, and that will be posted sometime tomorrow. So if there's anything that you need to reference, by all means, you'll be able to do that. And I would invite you at any time, if you want to snap a picture of what you see above me, you're welcome to do that. No problems whatsoever. The presentations tonight, in addition to what you hear from Mrs. Decker and myself, you're going to hear from Miss Judd, who is our assistant principal, no relation to Mr. Judd whatsoever, and Miss Jones, and she is our guidance counselor. Everyone in this room already has had the opportunity, at least virtually, to meet with her, and hopefully throughout this year there'll be a lot of face-to-face interactions that you're able to have, and tonight you will be hearing a lot of information from Miss Jones as well. The other room, the other people who will be rotating around in order to share with you are Mr. McCrory, who's our technology coordinator. That means laptops. And you'll also hear from Dr. Bonds, who is our career coordinator. So she'll talk to you just very briefly about our internship program and all of the support that she gives to our students even before their senior year. Clark's mission. If you open our student handbook, which you don't have a copy of, it's virtual, in that student handbook you're going to see that when we first came into existence 17 years ago, the mission was, and the mission continues to be, that we are preparing students to learn, live, and work in an information-rich, technologically advanced society. Well, about a year and a half ago, we had a group of parents, students, and our faculty talk about how can we simplify that, not change our mission, but how can we hold on to some words that really exemplify what that mission is. And what we came up with, and what we live and breathe, is equip and empower students for success. Everything that our teachers do intentionally is about equipping and empowering our students for success. So you will continue throughout the years that you're with us at Clark to understand that it is all about providing to you the tools that you need so you can be most successful. Our handbook, as I referenced before, as well as our progression plan, are both online. So on our Clark website, you can very simply go to the About page and you'll have the opportunity to have access to those. If you would like a printed copy of either of those documents, either our handbook or our progression plan, please send me an email, dkohuth@irsc.edu, and I'll be showing you how to find all of our contact information in a few moments. Send me an email and we'll be sure to order you up a printed copy of that. But otherwise, it is virtually. You can find that online. Our website, if you're not familiar, although everybody here applied, so with that, you must know how to get to our website, but you might not know about that secret spot. To get to the secret spot, parents, you would log in as parent, and Cranes, that's our mascot, Cranes with an S, is going to be your password. We keep it really simple, but it's still a private area for various documents that we upload for just the eyes of the parents, just the eyes of the students. So students, if you haven't seen it already, it is simply students singular, but Cranes plural. A special thanks to all of our faculty and staff who's out with us this evening. It's been a long week, a long summer, a long 2020, and we are so grateful that they were able to be with us this evening. As I promised, I want to take you out to our website so you can see some of their smiling faces, since we really can't show you that right now. And you will see, if you have not met these people before, these are the instructors and our support staff who are going to be equipping and empowering you for success. I am very happy to say that this TBA has actually been fingerprinted this afternoon. I cannot tell you yet who that person is, but I will tell you that we are very pleased. Yes, I saw Mrs. Decker. Yes, yes, yes. We have filled our mathematics position. So if you are signed up to take geometry or algebra 2, there's a very good chance that you will have the new instructor who is coming to Clark Advanced Learning Center. So as I had mentioned as part of the welcome, we do equip, we empower, we do expect more. We're a little school, so we're allowed to expect more. And you're going to find that very quickly we will know, even behind that mask, who you are. We will come to know parents. Mr. Omar and I, we're going to come to know vehicles that people drive. It's true, it's true, it's true. We really do. People will ask, so Mrs. Kohuth, who has the blah, blah, blah? Oh, that's this parent, or that's this student. We learn who they are. So keep that in mind. You can't hide very well, even behind your masks. We will know you, and we want that to be a very good experience for you. And parents, we want that to be the open door for you, even though in a little bit you're going to hear that our doors really aren't too open right now to you. So with that, I do want to just impress upon all of you that we are a partnership. We have to all participate seriously and purposefully. Our teachers have been back since the 27th of July, so they've already been with us for a week and a half. And because of our delayed start, in order to coincide with Indian River State College on the 19th of August, we actually have the ability to now have teachers planning for another week and a half as well. So it is extremely purposeful, and with this, not only are we assuming many responsibilities, but students and parents, guardians, we are also expecting that those responsibilities are assumed by you. Our student code of conduct will actually be talked about when you are with, or when Miss Judd comes to be with you all. We are here today. Some of you may have opted to actually go remote, and that's going to be perfectly fine for the fall. That was a choice that you made. But with that, whether you're physically sitting in a room or you're, I don't know, in your jammies, in your bedroom, I don't know, wherever you might be, it is going to be the opportunity that it is synchronous and asynchronous. These are words that, while I've heard them for years, I've known the meaning, the past 5 months, they've really been used a lot. So I want to just simplify for you what we mean by that. When instruction is synchronous, when learning is synchronous, it's live, it's real time. It's like what we're doing right now. You're learning this information all at the same time. Those of you who are seated here and those of you out in TV land. I know, I just can't help but call it TV land. And it is not about being in the same location. You can be wherever it is that you have chosen to learn, as long as we are aware of what that choice is. You need to arrive on time, so students, whether you are going to be physically coming to Ms. Hutchinson's classroom or you're going to be logging in order to attend her classroom, you need to be sure that you are on time. We actually have, as one of our handbook rules, within 10 minutes, that's considered a tardy. So even if you're 1 minute late, it's a tardy. Once you've gone past being tardy 10 minutes, we welcome you to still come to class, but it is considered an absence. So if there were a quiz or a test or something to that effect, it is really up to the teacher to determine if you can still take that assessment. So please keep that in mind. Be on time. In fact, I always like to say, and my staff hears it all the time, to be on time, be 10 minutes early. Well, we only have 5 minutes of passing time, so that doesn't really quite work, but you get the idea. Be early to be on time. Also want to point out that synchronous instruction is still about interacting. It's still about connecting with your classmates, connecting with your teacher, and definitely communicating. Whether you're going to do that face-to-face in the physical classroom or you're going to do that virtually when you do the remote learning from home, it's going to be critical, and your teachers know this. They've been purposefully planning for how they're going to bring about these connections. It is teacher-paced. Think about the fact that at the onset of class, your teacher is going to talk about, this is our agenda. These are the standards that we need to meet during the time that we're together. That's going to be laid out for you. And within those 85 minutes that you're going to be together, this is what we're going to be accomplishing. And then outside of that time, homework, you know that stuff that maybe you haven't had all summer. Well, if there's a need for it, your teachers are going to assign it. But then on the other side of that, we have asynchronous instruction, asynchronous learning. Same time login, it's not needed. Because the beauty of asynchronous instruction and learning is that it can happen anywhere, anytime, 24/7. If you love to study Spanish at 2:30 in the morning, go ahead, go for it. But you better show up for Mr. Escondon's class on time when it's a class day. And Ms. Judd, as well as Ms. Jones, will talk more about the scheduling and how that's going to work for the fall. I want you to be very aware, students, these very responsible and organized teenagers we have sitting here with us tonight, and all of you out in TV land. Asynchronous instruction calls for you to be responsible and to be organized. If at any time that starts faltering, your teachers have been requested to be sure parents know about that and be sure that your attention is drawn to the fact that something's not quite right. And we're going to get you back in line, even though we're going to continue with some asynchronous instruction. It is very student-paced, very, very student-paced. So while we do not hand out organizers, if you need one, give us a shout and we'll try to get you one. We'd be happy to do that. But what we've learned is students organize themselves in so many different ways. And while those of you who will have a student success class, you in fact may get a planner from your college instructor, you may find that certain aspects of how you have organized yourself, even with your device, whether it be your computer or your phone, are going to work better for you. And that is going to be up to you. But your student success instructor, for those of you who will be taking SLS 1101, they're going to guide you through some different ways to get organized. Safety. Yeah, of course, we couldn't get through tonight without talking about safety and wellness. Your choice, as I mentioned before, is either to be at school or to be at home. You don't have a choice as to whether or not you're learning, as far as I see it. We want you to be learning, but you've made the choice as to where you're going to do that. When you are at school, when you're in the building, you must wear a face mask at all times. Teachers will be wearing face masks. The other faculty and staff and support staff members will be wearing face masks. Social and physical distancing, absolutely essential, until we're told differently. And may that day come very soon. As you move throughout the building, that needs to be when you're in classrooms, any of the common areas, which we have all along the perimeter, if you will, of our school. Also, if you're waiting in line at the cafeteria, if you're in the cafe eating, of course you can take it down while you're eating or drinking, but then it's got to go back up. The other thing that we want you doing frequently is being sure you wash your hands and you use hand sanitizer. You will find hand sanitizers everywhere within this building. Anywhere and everywhere. Every classroom has a pump right on the side of the wall as you walk in, has one as you're leaving, has many, many opportunities for you to have those hand sanitizers. We also have Mr. Omar, one of our maintenance people, who had the joy this summer of installing special faucets so that you get to washy-washy and have an average of 27 seconds of that water streaming down across your hands. So you no longer have to sing the song that we had students singing up through March. You can actually just wait till the water dissipates, and then you know that you've washed your hands for long enough. So the other thing I do want to mention to you in regards to this is you might even have a handy-dandy little bag like I have. You are welcome to bring your own hand sanitizers. You're welcome to bring your own tissues, your own wipes. Whatever it is that's going to make you feel comfortable and safe within our school surround. Water bottles. We would ask that you make sure that the water bottles are being used and you fill them from the water fountain or from the water bottle filler. The water fountains will remain open, but please do not use your mouths on the water fountains. Water fountains will only be used to fill the water bottles. Continuing with some safety, we want to be sure that parents, I need you to be aware that we have many more chairs in this room than we normally would have. If you would actually take a look at this classroom over here, you can see we only have 10 students currently who would be in that classroom that normally fits 25. So this room tonight has been set up purposefully for those of you who are families to be seated together. but you are within that 6 feet, or without. You are beyond that 6 feet. So chair spacing throughout our building is done within those guidelines. We want you to make sure that you keep the chairs where they are, and we also need that you use your own supplies. So if you happen to be at a computer station, you need to be sure you have your own headphones for that. If you're outside, we do have plenty of benches, and we also have other outside seating with our tables. Now I'm going to tell you that not every table has a dimension of 6 feet. So if you are at one of the blue tables outside in our patio, it's lovely to be outside, but you are not 6 feet away from someone, so you will need to keep your mask on. If you are walking to the other building, fresh air, that's great for us. You may take your mask off as long as you are not within 6 feet of anybody else. But if you are around the building, if you are in the building, and you are, of course, in the building, always with your mask on, but you need to be sure that there is no other individual within 6 feet of you while you're at school. One-way directional signs. Keep to the right, keep to the right, keep to the right. Those returning students who are with us, you're probably going to have as difficult of a time of this as I do, because we always tend to take shortcuts to where we're going. But I need you to recognize as you move around the building and as you're leaving classrooms, there's going to be a very specific way to do that. So we have directional signs, plus your teachers will be sharing with you how you're going to be entering classrooms and how you're going to be leaving classrooms. But I need you to just keep remembering, keep it to the right, keep it to the right, keep it to the right. Everything is right at Clark, right? Gotcha. Access to the buildings on this campus and all IRSC campuses at this time is limited to students and staff only. So parents, you need to make appointments. If you are coming to see Ms. Jones, we absolutely want you to be able to come see your young person's counselor. But please make an appointment for that. We need to know that you are coming to campus. If you are coming to meet with Mr. Judd, we need to be sure that we know you're coming. So this is very different than in the past. While we've not had an open door policy for quite a while, we have had more of an open drop-in policy. We'll check your ID and then let you in policy. But now it's going to be make an appointment. We've got to be expecting you. Field trips, they're going to be virtual. We originally had a trip to France that was going to happen this coming March. Unfortunately, for March of 2021, that is not going to be happening. So I would say to you, anybody who wants to go to France, let's do it virtually. And if you're in class and there are some standards that your teacher is needing to discover with you, we want to be sure that those virtual field trips are still happening. And we'll look forward to maybe doing France in 2022. Assemblies and other special events, they have to be virtual at this point in time. And in addition to that, I need you to know that school clubs will not be starting until after Labor Day. We need some time to work all that out. So we ask you for grace with that as we look to start those clubs as soon after Labor Day as we're possibly able to. When you arrive on campus, this is especially important for everyone in the room because things have changed. Student drop-offs and drivers, just briefly, there will be temperature scans. I'll go over that in a little bit. We enter at the main entrance. So the same entrance that you came in today is where all students will enter and visitors who have appointments. Clark ID, this is new for my returners. You need to not get on campus or enter the doors until 7:15. IDs will now be set for 7:15 entry. If you get here sooner than that, you will not be able to get in the building. And we will be having a tardy scanner. So it'll talk directly to focus. So if you happen to be 1 minute late or 12 minutes late, you're going to actually scan your ID at the front entrance, and that's going to give you a receipt so that you can get into class. So we're just waiting for all of that to be aligned. Dismissing. If you are a bus rider or a bike rider, or if you walk to school, that's all happening near the west side because you're using the sidewalk that goes between the two ponds. Not for the bus, but for the walking and the bike riding. The buses will always pull up to the west side as far as they possibly can, and we want to be sure that students are exiting the west side in order to do any of that. Whereas if you are going to be picked up or if you're driving your own vehicle to school, you're always going to use that main entrance, the same way that you came in today. This room that you're sitting in, you probably have already heard, is called our knowledge room. Right? Of course, full of knowledge. Well, it also happens to be our inclement weather pickup room. So if there is inclement weather like we just had, and we have notification of that, you will hear an announcement, students, from your class that says you are to go to the knowledge room for pickup. Because what we do is we actually have students exit over on this side as we call for certain students, whether it be because it's a bus or whether it be because we recognize a car or we find out which vehicle has just pulled up. So it does take a little bit longer, obviously, when we have inclement weather, but again, it's done out of safety for our young people. Wait outside on the sidewalk. It's all about proper distancing. So if you're outside waiting, we just ask that you stay 6 feet away from whomever you're with. You can still talk and carry on just like you would. You're just going to be a little bit further away. And your Clark ID will work to get you back into the building at the main entrance until 2:30. So if you happen to forget something and you need to come on back, just make sure you're back by 2:30 if you want to use your ID. If you get back before 3:30, so that within that 1 hour window, you're able to just hit the intercom, just like our parents and our visitors would do if they had an appointment. And that intercom, we're going to go ahead and let you in because we're going to recognize that you're a student. But your ID itself, 7:15 to 2:30, will get you in through the main entrance on a school day. The other thing to talk about here that is relatively new, I've got some redundancy here, is the patio entrance. The patio is actually directly across from where we are. It's a lovely area that overlooks the pond. What we have done is set that particular entrance in order to have you access it with your ID at lunchtime. So if you're coming from the other building, and your class has ended at 12, we want you to be able to easily get back into this building. And it's monitored out there from 12 o'clock until 1 o'clock. So we would ask that you use your ID, you stay to your right, you're coming into the building, you've got your mask on. At any other time outside of that 12 to 1, if you're coming from the other building, you must use the main entrance. The west side is only used for exiting. So if it's a dismissal, you're going there, whether you're the bike ride or the buses or the walkers. And I need everyone to know that they are not to open the door for anyone. If someone needs to get into this building, if someone has permission to be in this building, they know how to get in this building with their ID or with their key. So do not open the door for even your best friend. Additional needs, parents, this is where your commitment came in as to whether you were going to have your son or daughter be in a classroom setting or be remote at-home learning. And this was so essential so that we could continue to plan out for this year with our schedule. If your child is sick, please keep your child home. If your son or daughter is not feeling well, please keep them home. They can log in from home to class. It's beautiful. And they can get better, and then when they're better, they can come on back. Another commitment, I would ask that if you're picking up your son or daughter early, this is different from prior years, please be sure that you are calling one of those numbers. And you can take a picture of that, or we will reference that many times in the coming future, and let us know that you're in the parking lot. We'll verify that it's the correct person, and then we'll move on from there to have your student released once Mrs. Wood or Mrs. Decker say that that's fine. We have an isolation area. It's on the second floor. I don't even want to tell you too much about it because we don't want it to be a place that anybody gets to go to, because you shouldn't be here if you're not feeling well. But if we have staff or students who suddenly take ill, we will have them in that isolation room, which becomes a clinic too. It's different than our regular clinic or nurses area. Want to point out that if you're on self-quarantine at home, you can obviously log into your classes with Google or with Blackboard, and your teachers will be talking all about that with you. We are as excited as everyone for when these variances will be lifted. So just keep that in mind. Traffic pattern, it's never going to look like that, I promise. If you're coming into the parking lot, your temperature will be taken, at least for the first few weeks of school. So I'm going to meet you out near the A parking lot. You go around Salerno Circle, and as you're coming through, you're going to stop at the stop sign. And then once you get there, you're going to access the A building parking lot so that we can stop and take your temperature. If it's not good, you're going to make a left and you're going to go home, you're going to get better. If it is good, you proceed and you come to the main entrance. Student parking. You're going to make a left if you're not feeling well, if we take your temperature and it's high, and you're going to get better. Same thing, you're going to come all the way to the back. Drivers, all the way to the back to Crane Lane and come through the front doors. This is basically what our parking looks like, and you'll have the opportunity to study this in more detail, and we'll also have people directing traffic. Communication, it's key, and you probably already have had messages. If you would like to have texts, you can text the word alert to 22300. 22300. The Clark Academic Notification and Action Plan System. This is all about letting parents know when things aren't quite where they need to be, a 73% or lower average. And if it's not going so well, there's going to be action planning. Parents as partners, September 17th is our very first one. Info nights, juniors and sophomores, 6 o'clock on the 17th as well. And then on the 29th, we have our seniors. We also have parents as partners 2 other times in the fall and also 3 times in the spring. I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Decker, and she's going to talk really fast because I used up way too much time.
There will be time too. I'm Mrs. Decker, and I'm the administrative assistant. You'll either find me in the front office or at the front desk. And I just wanted to talk to you about transportation briefly. We have we have 2 buses that come in the morning. And these bus stops were determined, they're centrally located for the majority of students. And this is posted on our website as well. The first box that you see up at the top is Jensen Beach and Palm City area. And then the second box down below is Hope Sound and Stewart, and the times are listed there as well. We ask that you come 10 minutes earlier than those times at the very beginning, just to make sure that they've got their routes down pat, and then it may change at a later date. If there are alternatives, if this actually, will not work for you, you can shoot me an email or give me a call and we can talk about that. Afternoon buses, there's 3 buses. At the end of the school day, we make an announcement, and you'll be exiting the west doors and getting on the bus that will take you to your home high school. From there, you can get on another bus to go back to your neighborhood. Every car that's parked in the parking lot must have a parking decal. I have parking permits in the office, and you can grab a sheet on the way out and fill out the parking permit application and return that to me when you come back to school. And textbooks. So when you register for your classes, you're going to be getting an email from me to sign up for textbook pickup. So watch your email, check your emails every day, and you'll make an appointment, and we will set out your textbooks for you. Sometimes the syllabus will say that you'll have a textbook and an access code. Sometimes the instructors don't use that access code. So if you are missing an access code, please let me know and we will get that for you. Mrs. Kahoot.
I'd like to just point out a few things about lunchtime. Bring your lunch if you'd like, or you can get your lunch from the lunch service that we have from Martin County School District. We do not allow deliveries, and we do not allow visitors at lunchtime. And unfortunately, I also need to mention that the cafe area in the A building is not going to be open for fall. So our returners who love those greasy French fries, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to wait. Ooh, I guess somebody likes greasy French fries. The website for loading your card, if you will, for your ID it remains k12paymentcenter.com for those of you who would like to put money on your ID cards so that it's easy to access. You must have your ID when you go through the Clark cafeteria line right here in our building. The prices, as you'll see, are listed on the screen, and applications, if you are applying for free and reduced lunch, that does not carry over year to year. You have to be sure that you submit a new application each year. If you have any questions, you're welcome to follow up with the Food and Nutrition Services office. And the best thing to do, I was told, is actually to email them at askfns@martinschools.com if you have any questions. And finally, before we all take off to the next room, I want to leave you with what I do consider to be the do's for a lifetime of success. So it's even beyond the young students sitting here. Do right, you know, to avoid whatever's wrong because you want to make good choices. My 19-year-old son can't leave the house without mom saying, make good choices. Do everything to the best of your ability with the time that's allotted to you. I can't help but think about asynchronous instruction, right? You've got to make sure you get done what you're supposed to within the time that you're given. So it does call for a lot of responsibility, and there's also a lot of accountability that will follow you throughout your life. And definitely kindness counts. This is a zone of kindness here at Clark the moment you enter the A parking lot or Crane Lane, and I look forward to you doing and showing people that you care. So happy you could be with us this evening. In just a few moments, we're going to start rotating so that just the instructors, our presenters and our instructors, will move to the next room. I think I'm trying to wait for a cue that that's going to happen. Not quite yet.
Sure. They're still going. Any questions?
Well, we have a few moments. Are there any questions that we can answer at this time about this portion?
They're done.
Are there more than one decal, like our child has to use our car?
What we do is we issue one decal. However, if a student knows that they're driving a different car on a certain day, we just ask that they check in at the front desk with Mrs. Decker and just say, hey, today I'm driving this car. She just makes a note of it, and we share that with our officer. Thank you for asking that. Yes?
When do you get your student ID card?
Your student IDs will be given out to you when you start school or you come for your textbooks. And I say that because some of you will physically be coming to the building all the time, and others of you, while you'll need to come and get your textbooks and get your ID, we know that you'll be learning from home.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes?
For the whole COVID stuff with the masks, are they allowed to wear buffs also, or is it just the masks?
IRC policy is that it can be a mask or it can be a, forgive me for not knowing the word.
Face cover as well?
There's some other word that they use that's not coming to my brain right now. More like the fishing gear. As long as it's up over the nose. Thank you for that. All right, we are going to rotate out, and we're going to welcome Miss Judd and Miss Jones.
Hello, everybody. I am Miss Judd. You've gotten 1,000 emails from me, and you will continue to, and I'm going to get a drink before I start. I learned this lesson the hard way last night. Hello, live streamers. There's 100 of you on, I saw. Okay. So I'm going to talk through many of my roles. I know everyone in this room, well, everyone here is new, but you may have had a sibling attend here or whatnot. I wear many hats. We're at a small school, so many people do. So I'm going to present to you from a few different hats. The first lens that I'm coming from is before becoming an assistant principal, I worked for many years as a licensed mental health counselor. And so right now, more than ever, I've had to tap back into those skills because that's the way of the world we are right now. I'm guessing Mrs. Cove told you our theme for this year is Dream Big, which may sound like a crazy theme to have in a pandemic, but we truly believe that even in these circumstances where we're having to punt a lot, we can still establish dreams, work towards them, make things happen. Some things in education are changing as a result that really are a good change. Some good things are happening. And some things, as you'll see in my presentation, are some things that when I can, I'm going to wave my wand and the world will be back and we won't have masks and we'll be able to do some of the things that I'm going to talk about in the presentation. Because that's what I'm speaking into the world as my dream, is that a lot of these things are still gonna happen. We just got to punt a little. So one of our big initiatives, and it's been for many years actually, taking care of the whole student. Making sure that life at Clark is about more than academics, because it is, and more so now than ever. So some initiatives, we are part of the school district's mental wellness plan. It's required by the state of Florida, and certain things went into statute after the tragedies down in Parkland. Okay, so a lot of this stuff stems from that, and it's been a wonderful addition to our school setting. One of them is relationship building circles. In your classes, it's an opportunity to truly talk about topics that matter, topics that kids should know and want to know more about, and get to know one another on that level, and get to know your teachers beyond what grades you get and what essays you turn in and write. So those will continue. If you've been in the school district, they may look a little different because some of your classmates will be home, some of them will be here, etc. But we had pretty positive experience with circles last year, so we're excited to keep those moving. We have a social emotional learning program called BASE. It's got courses for parents and students about everything. There's probably 100 different topics out there. Every drug you can imagine, suicide awareness, depression, setting goals, having good character, being in a toxic environment. I mean, you name it, there's a course on it. They're usually about an hour to finish. So students and parents can request those if there's something that you just want a little more info on. Or, the other way we use it, one of my other hats is discipline. So if you happen to earn a detention, instead of staring at a wall for an hour on a Friday afternoon, because that's when detention is, and usually you're not even here on Fridays, but you still got to come back to stare at the wall for an hour. Some students choose to do one of these courses, and that would be something we would discuss. Part of the mental wellness plan is we have a therapist here on campus. She's from Tyson Teens. Her name is Courtney. She was with us, started with us about midway last year. She is doing telehealth and in-person sessions. So if that's something that is wanted by your family, you would get in touch with Ms. Jones. She starts that process. Because a lot of people need some extra support. There's a lot going on, and we don't necessarily know what's happening. And sometimes you just need that professional to talk to and get things out there. Another piece of that, the games. So usually we have cards and games and other fun stuff. That's one of those things that it's going to come back. I'm putting it in the universe. It's coming back to us, just not quite yet. And then we do have over there what's the starts of a literacy library. If there's books you want to take, some SAT prep, other things. Some that are just fun, or you have some you've read that are great and you don't know what you want to do with them. That's just kind of a take, don't check it out, just take it, read it, bring it back, don't bring it back, whatever. And then that's something that can be positive on your downtime. Wellness modules, those are required from the state as part of the statewide initiative. So if you were in public school last year, you were supposed to have done them. You saw a human trafficking video, and then there were 5 modules on different mental wellness initiatives and one on substance abuse prevention and intervention. They change with each grade level. They're different. So if you watched the 9th grade version last year, yay, you get to do 10th grade this year. But it's a statewide initiative that you meet the hours requirement for that. And I did all of them. I pretended I was in each grade level. And again, there's some pretty decent information in there. And then one of those dreams that didn't quite come to fruition the way we wanted last year because, well, March. In May, we had planned an entire adulting class. So it's all those things that grown-ups were like, man, we should have learned credit cards and budgets and how to change a tire and all that cool stuff. And we have the whole thing planned and ready to roll, and then we had to just kind of halfway do it online, send some stuff out. As you know, it was a little weird at the end of the year in May. So we are looking forward to life being great by May and being able to offer that in the spring. Here at Clark, we are firm believers in a culture of kindness. The whole school is a zone of kindness. We expect that out of our employees. We expect that out of our peers. I can tell you, shoot, we're live streaming and being recorded. I'm a little snarky sometimes, and I can tell you that different, Miss Jones will say, Miss Judd, zone of kindness, and it snaps me back in. I'm not mean, well, not usually. But it's truly one of those things. We all slip, we have bad days, but we like to be, peer-to-peer, staff-to-staff, staff to student. Just that reminder of, hey, we're a zone of kindness here. So in order to really cultivate that environment, we have several ways that we recognize and honor people who are being kind and doing the right thing and making good choices. One of them is through the monthly character counts recognition, where you saw scrolling early on, you get $50, you get a big fake check, you get a parking space. My favorite part about that is if you don't drive, we just tell you, just go stand in the morning, because nobody else is allowed to park there. It's your space, take a picture of it. For a month, it's yours. You'll get a plaque. We do assemblies, like Ms. Cogan said, those will probably be virtual for the first couple months. But we do honor, we take student nominations. More info will come out from Ms. Jones about that when we get rolling with that. Every week, once a week, we put on announcements and the big giant signboard at the road, send home in the weekly newsletter. Students who other people, even from the community, have reported, hey, this kid did a real nice thing. And it can be something as small as, I dropped a pile of papers and Susie helped me pick it up. Those little things matter, okay? I get calls sometimes from people in the community that say, hey, you know what? I was talking to this kid who was really kind, and they said they went to your school, and I'd never heard of your school, and somehow they find me on the website and tell me about this great kid who works at Chick-fil-A or whatever. So we want to hear those things, and parents, I'll solicit from you those positives. But students, I want to hear those things from you also when you see, because we can't see everything, we see a lot, but we really want to know, we want to recognize when good choices are being made. Take What You Need is an initiative from our student government. It's basically some signs in the bathrooms, and they say different things, and they started that probably 3 years ago, and it really took off, more than we really thought was going to happen. So you'll see those, and that's, again, kind of in that staying in a positive mindset. Sometimes we just need a little patience, or a little caring, or whatever we may take off that. And then student activities. We have several different activities. Many of you did the ice cream social modified version, watched some videos. And I do have prizes for a bunch of you, and I totally forgot them tonight, so don't worry. Hey, you'll get a present your first day of school. But anyway, the student activities will be starting after Labor Day. As you saw, we need a little time to get everything settled academically, since it's a little bit weird environment for our teachers to have people home and people sitting here. So we're going to give them a little bit of time because they're our primary sponsors, but we encourage you to get involved. And again, those activities are, almost all of them have a very heavy focus, even if it's, computer club. They're doing things, yes, some cool stuff with computer science, but they're also doing things that help benefit the community. So we really try to keep a caring initiative through all of our student activities. One of my other hats is I'm the parent volunteer coordinator, which means that I recruited Karen Bartnick, who is one of our parents, to do all the work for me. Karen, I know you're on there. See, thank you. This is the email address that she will use. You will be hearing from her because we are going to have a virtual meet and greet on the 25th. That way we can make some plans, because again, Karen also agrees that we are putting out there that a lot of the cool stuff we do that parents help us with is going to happen at some point this school year. One of our big things is bingo night. It's a great fundraiser. Sounds cheesy. People love it. We pack the house. And people have already said, hey, we'll do it in the parking lot. Just don't cancel bingo night tonight, or this year. So we recruit parents to help us with these various activities. So plan to join us for that. Other ways that parents you can help through financial contributions, through the Education Foundation, they have Adopt a Class, etc. You don't go on the website tonight because it's not up to date yet. But I will send out as soon as it's ready, I send an e-newsletter that tries to capture everything you need to know every Friday, unless I'm on vacation, which is happening for 2 weeks. So in that email, I'll send information when this stuff is active and whenever we have special projects looking for funding. I always use Mrs. Bartow, who's traveling with us this evening. She's our science teacher, and then Mr. Fears is our computer science teacher. But Mrs. Bartow had a real cool project for one of her classes last year when they were covering the reproductive units. And so she got various funding through Fund a Project and got a couple of the, do they have a special name? Couple babies. And so the babies got to go home for a couple days with the students in that class, and they learned a lot. And anyway, so there's some different projects that get funded. Our art teacher got a bunch of easels funded so that she can take classes outside and go sit by the pond and do their paintings and drawings. So be on the lookout. I put those things in the newsletter. Mrs. Bartow needs for her marine science class 25 shoe boxes with lids. So that would be something I would send out and say, hey, if y'all got some shoe boxes with lids at home in good condition, bring them in. We need them by some date, early September. So I'm telling you guys, hey, we need some shoe boxes with lids, 25 of them. Anyway, so this is just the way that you can help, and tax deductions and all that good stuff. Putting on my next hat, discipline, fun times. Luckily, it's pretty minimal here. Everybody, if you have any wood near you, please knock. These are the biggest issues in your handbook. There's, pages dedicated to each of these topics. You'll hear about technology from Mr. McCrory when he comes in next. Parking, you already heard about. It's a privilege, not a right. It's free and open to all unless you drive like a fool down Crane Lane or something like that. And then the roles and responsibilities. Again, the reason we are the environment we are is because our parents and guardians, our staff, and our students take the responsibility to make this the great educational environment that it is. And so we have a lot of those expectations outlined in the handbook. The campus includes the 4 college buildings and the Morgade Library. So free reign, do whatever you need. Just don't be late to class. That's all we ask. And if you go and do something stupid at the library, you fall under Clark and IRSC discipline. One of the other buildings, Clark and IRSC discipline. So make good choices, make good choices, make good choices. But parents, you're going to get with this presentation and a survey and some other stuff, hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow, you're going to get an acknowledgement, electronic acknowledgement form that says, I also understand that nobody's locking my child in this campus. So if they drive and you tell them, I don't want you leaving campus for lunch, and they decide to go leave campus for lunch and you find out about it, that's not my fault. That's between you and your child. As long as they're back in time for class, I'm happy. So that's kind of, make sure you understand that we're a college-like environment, and so we expect that you're going to be responsible. And parents, I know that's a scary thought, and clearly if kids are abusing it and they're missing class a lot, then it is a discipline issue. And I may lock you down from leaving campus, but that's very rare. Attendance matters. So whether you're choosing to log in from home, and that's okay. Whether you're choosing to come on campus, that's okay. You're where you need to be. You're doing what you need to do. You're making the choices you need to make, and that's okay. Just keep in communication with us if you're going to change from one format or the other. But whether you're logging in from home or you're sitting on campus, attendance counts. It's recorded in focus. If you have to miss a class, you need to let us know within 2 days to have it excused. You'll send it to Mrs. Wood, and we'll be able to excuse it, and then you have to make up the work within 2 days. Miss too much school, more than 10%, which works out what's up there, we have to report it to the DMV. So if you're a driver, you won't be anymore, and it's expensive to get it back. My one student who had to do that a couple years ago had amazing attendance after she lost her driver's license and was on the bus every day. Typically doesn't happen, but keep in mind, there's tangible reasons besides I need to do well in my classes to show up for your classes. But there's a reward. For high school classes, most of our teachers, if not all, opt that if you have an A going into the exam, the final exam, you've completed 95% of the work, you've done any review material they've asked of you, they'll exempt you from the exam. So that's a pretty sweet gig and worth being there. Mrs. Koguth already talked about if you're sick, stay home. If you're going to be gone, like I mentioned, not that I'm going to brag, but I'm going out west for a couple weeks, so if I'm a student, my parent needs to let Mrs. Koguth know, hey, we got this trip planned in October, we've got this trip planned in December, whatever it may be. Give us a couple weeks notice, because we're going to want to check and make sure that, that you're doing well, and we can say, sure, go enjoy that trip. Because if you're not, we're not going to excuse it. You can still go, but it's not going to be excused. Because we can only excuse it if truly it's in your best interest to be gone that much. And again, here's the how to submit attendance notes. We're encouraging you to do it through email, but you can bring in a written note or the doctor's notes, scan it, whatever you need to do. Dress code, I have, as far as consequences, I just always put this up there to know that it's a state statute that determines how we handle dress code violations. It's not Leslie Judd's way of doing dress code. We have a very liberal dress code here. Again, you can look it up in our handbook. I encourage you to look at it. It's the pretty standard minimal stuff. The only difference is no spaghetti straps if you wear a tank top. They do have to be wider. And it's not in our dress code, but Mrs. Koguth already explained. Until further notice, a mask is also part of the dress code. The only masks that you can't wear, I don't know if she said it or not, are the ones, there's some with like a little filter on the side, and they basically realize that that just condenses and blows the germs out one little hole instead of covering the whole face. So that's the only mask really that would be an issue. But other than that, dress code, again, very liberal. We're on a college campus. We expect you to act and dress accordingly. Another hat of mine is safety. Since you guys are all new here, you'll see in your classes that we'll go over some more specific safety things, but just know all of our employees are trained in what's called ALICE, which is very similar. Some of you may be familiar with Run, Hide, Fight. I got a picture from one of our trainings because you have to do a bunch of hands-on, and I'll tell you, I did the certification. I'm an instructor for it, and it's fascinating. But it's nice to be empowered that you have options. If you ever feel that there's an emergency, there's a lot of options now. So we'll talk about those because the drills, the state requires us to do monthly active assailant drills. Because we're in the pandemic, they're going to take on a little bit different approach this year. So we won't be doing the full-on lockdowns, etc., because we don't want people clumping up and breathing on each other. We don't want people in a fire drill all squeezed up, bottlenecked over here. So we'll be doing what's called tabletop drills, and we'll walk you through these things. I think Mrs. Koguth probably talked a little bit about anyone who belongs in our building has a key. including you. Your ID card is a key to the building. When not in a pandemic, but still going to happen this year, I believe it in my heart, you'll be able to use that ID for all 3 main doors. But to start the school year, you're basically only, they're going to be turned off for the other doors. You'll only be using them for the front doors during school hours, and then for an hour at lunch out the patio if you need to come and go during that time. If you lose it, again, it's a key to the building. You need to let Ms. Jones know. It's $10 to replace. We are also, in addition to Alice certified employees, we're also all trained in Stop the Bleed. So if we ever had some type of very serious medical emergency, we're good with a tourniquet or a buff or, you know, whatever else we can grab. We learned that last year. Visitors, again, I think Mrs. Code would discuss this. It's going to be by appointment only until further notice. And you'll have to be able to sign in, have your driver's license on you. You will be escorted to your destination of where your appointment is. And, you know, again, you have to use, because the doors are locked, you have to buzz in at the front. Here's more about the ID. There's always an adult at the front desk. We also have a camera for the front in our office if somebody had to step away for a minute. There's a statute that requires an armed officer on every public school campus. So we do partner with the sheriff's office. They're part of our threat assessment team. They spend some time hanging out here. But our armed officers are guardian trained. They're retired officers from different departments, but they're hired by Indian River State College. So we do have armed officers here. Safe School Ambassadors is a student program that we'll come back to when it's time to come back to, because we have to redesign it a little this year. Fortify Florida, there's an app. You'll see a link on all of our computers when you log in. There's posters all over. It's an anonymous reporting system if you ever have safety concerns that you want to report anonymously. We talked about drills. We talked about the required education. Your doors, the classroom doors locked behind you. So you're going to need somebody to let you in if you leave to go to the bathroom. So we try to, you know, it's 85 minutes, go to the bathroom before and go after. It's a big school. You got 5 minutes to get in a circle. You can do it and use the bathroom. If you are late, there will be a machine at the front desk. That's where you'll report to get a tardy pass. Earbuds, 1 ear only. You can't have full headphones on. That's for safety purposes because you can't hear. Some of those headphones are really, really good at canceling noise, including, we don't have a big screeching fire alarm. It's a very gentle, please exit the building. There is an emergency. Please exit the building. You don't hear it if you have earbuds in or anything else. So, I mean, it is loud, but it is very kind and gentle and warm. But anyway, for safety purposes, you need to be able to hear if somebody's saying, hey, you need to go, or whatever else. And we talked about the video intercom at the entrance. Something new to us this year, Alyssa's law passed this summer, which requires there to be active alert systems in all K-12 schools. So we were already we knew it was coming, so ours actually got installed this summer. Eventually all of the employees will have a thing around their neck that if there's, you know, a shooter in the building, somebody here to hurt you, they push a button, it goes straight to the police department, as do the police buttons that you see there. So I encourage you guys, being new, the first couple weeks of school to kind of wander around and see where these different buttons are. Don't pull it. It legit goes straight to 911 to the sheriff's office and they'll respond real quick and it'll be a problem. But please look around and see. The medical button is an internal alert, so you know it's not going to go to 911, but a whole bunch of us are going to get it and respond and be calling 911. I showed just a screenshot from my phone that will show you that red dot shows exactly where somebody pulled the medical alert, so I would know exactly where to go. And then we have what's called go bags. So ever an emergency, they're usually by the stairwells. They've got every emergency supply imaginable that we can shove in a backpack. We're done with bad weather. I mean, I know y'all came in tonight in a big old storm, but we're done with hurricanes. I'm going to put that out in the universe too. But should we have any kind of inclement weather or need to cancel, Remember to pay attention to Clark and IRSC's website and information communication systems, because we don't necessarily do it and make the same decisions as the school district. So it may say Martin County Schools is closed. That does not mean Clark Advanced Learning Center or IRSC are closed. So make sure you're staying with our communications. And then one of the last pieces is the master schedule is very different this year. So new students sitting here with me, you're coming in under a very weird schedule. When this all ends, hopefully by spring you'll be back, that if it's a 5-day-a-week class, we'll see your happy faces 5 days a week. But we've modified the times, and Ms. Jones will talk a little bit about getting you your schedule, making it very clear when you need to be here or be logged in. But what I want to draw your attention to that doesn't show up real well, but again, I'm going to send you the presentation. In orange, where it says like Wednesday next to the 2, at most we have 71 kids scheduled to be in a class on our campus at that time. And that's in 4 different classrooms because we have 4 classes going. So we've really modified to minimize how many people are on campus at any one time. Does that mean you can't be here if you don't have a class? You can be here following, wearing the mask and the 6 foot, and you can be here. But just so you know, if you're making your choice of being here in person, we're keeping our numbers as low as we possibly can. We've spread out our classes and added a lot of asynchronous learning to the classes. Your teachers are going to be sending you a welcome email next week. You need to look at it, acknowledge it, because it's going to explain, it's going to say, hey, so-and-so, you need to be here at these times. We had to relocate some offices. This will make more sense after you got started with us, but for my returners that are watching on live stream, Mr. McCrory's upstairs, Dr. Bonds is downstairs in the Career Cafe, Ms. Wood, Ms. Jones are upstairs until further notice, just because this knowledge room is now a classroom. So you can't come in to come hang out in the counselor's office, which is going to crush my returners that are sitting here watching that. And then we normally have a quiet study room that's going to be closed for the first quarter, unless something wonderful and amazing happens and we are able to open it up. But right now, there's really not room to fit 2 people social distance in there. And now I turn it to Ms. Jones.
You gave me a whole minute left.
No, we started late. You're fine. Oh, hello. Hi, everybody at home. Ooh, never thought I'd ever say that. Okay, I'm just going to go over just a few guidance things. Credit limits and associate degree progression. A lot of you come to Clark with the intention of hopefully earning your associate's degree. An associate's degree is 60 credits, which is 20 classes, or the equivalent. So keep in mind, if you're coming in as a 10th grader, you have 6 semesters, potentially 8 if you take summer classes. So that's 20 college courses to spread out over all of that time. So you don't have to rush and take on too much in one semester. We have time to spread things out. 19 college credits is kind of the limit that the colleges put in place for us, or the equivalent of high school and college credits combined, which is basically 6 classes in a lab, potentially 7 classes, which is really unnecessary. We want you to, breathe a little bit and have a little fun, and not be completely bogged down with all things school. If you do end up taking up to 19 credits, you have to get approval through myself, through the provost of the college, through administration here at the school. And it relates to educational goals. So if you're coming in as a 10th grader or 11th grader, and you want to get some pre-med stuff out of the way, pre-med program requires 85 credits instead of 60. So we understand that you may have to pack more in if you're trying to get stuff done before transitioning to a university. You will not be allowed to earn more credits than what is required for that associate's degree. So most of you will earn, a university in Florida, a public university, will only take up to 66 credits. So really going much beyond that doesn't serve you very well anyway, because you're going to have to retake a lot of those classes if you go to a university afterwards. But at least 66 credits in the state of Florida will transfer with you. I think we this past, or our current senior class, all super driven, which 99% of the kids that come here are. They wanted to load up and take as many classes as they could every semester. And I think that first year, a good portion of them got really burned out because they were all super college ready and, you know, ready to go and jump into all the classes. But like I said, we have time to get all of that done. Post-high school, IRC, you have me as a counselor here at Clark, but then also at IRC, each of you are being, you're all assigned an IRC advisor. And I'll talk more about that in about a month when we have info nights. But you'll also have an advisor there, and when you meet with them, sometime during your first year, you'll set up a guided pathway. And what a guided pathway is, say right now you're interested in business. They'll set up for an AA what classes you need to take for business. You know, what semester you'll take statistics, when you'll take economics, when you'll take accounting. It's a very fluid document. We can always change it. We can change it if you change your mind on what you want to major in. You know, you change your mind every 2 weeks, your guided pathway, we can update it every 2 weeks. Cost of retake, impact on transcripts. Keep in mind that all of the college classes you start taking this very first semester, even your student success and your dual enrollment, those will travel with you. If you go to a university, those will always be on your transcript. So if you're struggling in a class, do everything you can to get the help you need to pull those grades back up. If you end up having to retake a class because you earned a D or an F or you withdrew from it, you have to pay out of pocket for the class. And a 3-credit class is $315, so I'm sure you could find other, you know, more important things to pay for with that $315. Study halls and peer tutoring, as well as teachers will also have virtual office hours. That'll all come to light at the beginning of the semester. Right now, that's times and everything are still being figured out. Balance. When I mention balance, I know there's always competition to, you know, be at the top or, you know, be in the top however many students in a class, which we actually don't do class rank anymore officially, but we'll have students who really love art but wouldn't take a high school art class, for example, because it didn't give as many points towards their GPA to rank them higher. And so they wouldn't take it and they'd take another class that maybe they're not interested in, but it would give them more points. If you want to take the art class, take the art class. The purpose of high school is to have that balance. Colleges want to see that you're involved in sports, that you're doing things, you know, that you're going to prom, that you're not just strictly focusing on academics and nothing else. Expectations and differences with dual enrollment. Here, you're a little bit lucky if you're taking your dual enrollment classes here. The benefit is that you do have teachers who are also high school teachers. So if you're not doing well in a class, you know, they may contact home. May pull you aside. They may say, hey, everything all right, you're not doing so well. Whereas once you go over to the college, as I've said to other groups, what may happen is you may go to a class, never show up, nothing will ever be said, nothing will ever be done, nobody will contact you, and at the end of the semester, it'll just show in your report card. So just keep the expectations that if you want to do well in your classes, you may have to reach out a little bit more, because there won't be as much hand-holding as there may have been in maybe your high school classes or your classes here at Clark. Unless otherwise noted on your schedule, all Clark and IRC classes start August 19th. Most of you are new, so most of your classes are going to be here anyway or accessed remotely. As far as schedule changes, it's a pretty easy process. There's only 250 of you, and one of me, which is pretty nice considering the other schools, there's about 700 to 1. So there's usually a form. That is, when things get back to normal, that's my office over there. It's lots of fun, but I get to go upstairs and it's not going to be as fun up there. But that's okay. I'll have a box outside of my office for schedule changes. You fill out the form, get it signed by a parent, drop it in the mail, or drop it in the box. Usually schedules are changed within the day, you know, maybe a couple days, but you need to turn in the form within 1 week of the first day of class. So first day of class is the 19th. By, what is it, the 26th? The following Wednesday, you should have the schedule change submitted. If you're accessing classes remotely, I need an email from the student and from the parent letting me know that the parent approves of the request. And you're supposed to stay in the class until the schedule is changed, but schedule changes aren't always a guarantee. Just because you request it, that doesn't mean it's always going to happen, because there are certain things we have to keep in mind when maintaining your schedule. The last day to drop a class for us is the 26th, but if you're taking classes at the college, the last day to drop is August 25th. And if there's any seniors in here or out there, I will bother you relentlessly. Even juniors and sophomores, I'm always sending out emails. Miss Judd, we're always sending out emails. And especially now with so much being virtual, everything is going to go to your IRSC email and your Clark email. For seniors, I send out like college application stuff, scholarship interviews, or scholarship information. Everything goes out via email. Sometimes you won't want to open your email because I've sent so much and you're like, oh God, she's going to do something that my parents are going to force me to do. That's okay. Check your email. Schedules for the new students, you've actually seen what the adjusted schedule has looked like, to where things are now hybrid, so you may not have classes as many times a week as we would traditionally before coronavirus. Returning students, your schedule may look a little bit different than what you originally scheduled with me. That doesn't mean I changed your schedule, it just means that if you have a class that met on Monday and Wednesday, it may only be meeting on Monday, and then you'll have a virtual component to your class. But I will be sending out like finalized schedules before the 19th. I'll send it to parent and student emails. But you'll be able to see, and we'll still making adjustments to classrooms and things like that, so I want them to be perfect when they get to you. And it'll have your IRSC email address at the bottom in case you forgot it, or if you're returning and you haven't logged in since March, it's all there. And then the little Okta app that's on there, the Okta symbol, you can actually download that on your phone and you'll be able to access any of your IRSC Pioneer portal, so your classes, where your classes are. At the end, you'll see your grades. Everything else will be on there. Ooh, I'm done. What's next, Miss Jen?
What's next is we're going to go in there. And we love seeing everyone. And next, the computer people and career will be coming in here, and you'll get all worked up, picked up, everything taken care of with computers. But feel free to shoot us emails. Be checking those emails, because I'm going to send out some stuff, like I said, hopefully by the end of tomorrow afternoon, that will need a response from you. So, stay well, and we are going to move it on out.
For those of you that are remote, Ms. Judd will be sending out emails tomorrow, so look for them. Otherwise,
for those of you who don't know me, I haven't had a chance to scan this room and see who's here yet. I'm Dr. Bonds. I'm the career coordinator here at Clark. So I am here basically as your personal career coach to help you with anything you need related to your career planning. You probably know that I work with seniors on the required internship that you do. But you don't have to wait till you're a senior to come see me. I can help you anytime. If you're trying to figure out what you want to do, if you're looking for a part-time job, which I'll tell you right now is not really easy, but I'll try. If you're looking for volunteer experiences or shadowing experiences, kind of a mini internship, sometimes we can do that. Again, maybe not right now. But I will do my best. Help you with resume, help you with interviewing, whatever you need related to your career. Setting goals, doing career research, that's what I'm here for. I'm passionate about helping people figure out what it is they want to do with their lives and then setting goals and achieving them. So, let me help you. Don't wait to come meet me when you're a senior, okay? Do I have anyone here who's taking my class this semester? Okay, if you know anyone who is, then tell them to bring their laptops to class and be checking their river mail. Right now is when I'm really heavy in the internship placement process for the fall and have been for several weeks. I do all of that through Rivermail. So bookmark that for the future. It's really nice to see all of you. Excited to have you here. Now we're going to get on to the good stuff and you'll get to get your hands on your laptop. Let me know if you need anything.
Hold on one second.
I recognize it, even though I'm the city girl.
Good evening. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Chris McCrory. I'm the school's technology coordinator. And tonight I spent a few minutes with you, briefing you about some of the technology things here at Clark. And then we'll wrap up by getting you started with the MacBooks you have in front of you. So on the school website, there on the left-hand side, there's a link that says Technology. And directly under that is a second link that says Crane Cornerstone. The Crane Cornerstone there link is a buffet of all things technology, and it has the how-tos, the videos, the written instructions for everything you need to know here at school. So if you need to know how do I log into my Pioneer portal, the instructions are there. How do you access Rivermail? The instructions are there. Okay, it's a one-stop shop for your convenience. Since 2004, we've been using, since 2008 we've been using Dell computers. And the product life cycle has expired on those, and we're transitioning to Apple products this year. So in front of you have a brand new MacBook. You don't have to take one of our school computers. If you want to use your own computer here, we're fully accommodated to bring your own technology work, and we'll integrate everything you need for the classroom here at school. So if you have a computer that you like and you don't want to take the responsibility for our school computer, you're welcome to use your own. You can change your mind at any time. If you don't take one tonight and you say, get into school a month or so and say, you know, it's not working, I do want to take one, you can do that. That's no problem. If you do take the computer, you take it with the intention that it's intended for educational purposes. It's not a gaming station, and it's not a device for mom or dad to run their business through. Okay? We've had that before where a student didn't have access because a parent was using the computer to run their business. Okay? In the computer is the acceptable use policy. The AUP agreement is the guidelines for the do's and don'ts on the college network. It also binds you for financial restitution to the Clark if you don't return the computer or if you damage it. Tonight before you leave, whether you take a computer or not, we're going to ask you to fill that out and sign it. Because even if you use your own technology, you're still bound by the same rules as everybody else that's on the network. In the event that your computer breaks, and the person you'll see to get that fixed, typically the turnaround time is a couple of days. But in the event that that exceeds a 2-week period, I'm going to give you a loaner laptop. In the meantime, each classroom has a standalone PC in it. So if you don't have your laptop because you've forgotten it at home or your laptop's being repaired, what you would do is you would log into that standalone PC with your network account, and you're not going to miss a beat in class. So every classroom has one PC. You also are going to let your teacher know, hey, I don't have my laptop and I can't do today's assignment, or I don't have my laptop and I need you to make accommodations and work with me. So instead of doing it electronically, I'm going to do it old-fashioned paper and pencil. And your instructors will make that accommodation and make things work for you without the laptop. The laptop's something we use to help with instruction, but it's not the keystone of all instruction. So it can't be that I don't have my laptop and I'm not responsible for doing the schoolwork. Even if you don't have the laptop, you are still responsible and you are accountable. The MacBooks have some cost associated with them. Okay? If you damage the screen or the top cover, that's $99 to have repaired. If you damage the bottom enclosure, that's $299 to have repaired. If you have catastrophic damage, that's $1269. We work with a third-party insurance company called Safeware. We've used the company since 2004, so they're very reliable. And for $59, you can purchase an insurance policy with them. You would make a check payable to the school because we own the property and we mitigate any claims here. What does the $59 cover? Well, if you get the insurance policy, you'll never pay $1269. Okay? There's no deductible. So for $59, it covers accidental damage, theft, or if you lose the laptop, anything like that. What it doesn't cover is cosmetic damage. Okay, so it's got this little clause in there. Cosmetic damage is the laptop has a big dent in it, but it still works fine. It's just physically damaged. The insurance policy doesn't cover that. In that case, you're going to have to pay for the repairs to the computer. Okay, there's no way around that. Sorry about that. I would recommend getting the policy. We had a student that she left school, she goes to the parking lot and she puts her laptop on the roof of her car, and then she drives away forgetting that the laptop's on the roof of the car. Before she gets to Salerno Road, she realizes, hey, I forgot my laptop on the roof of the car. So she stops and she jumps out of the car, but the laptop's not there anymore. So she retraces her steps and she can't find the laptop. So we get security, everybody's looking for the laptop. We never do find this laptop, right? And it's a big mystery. So I mitigate all the insurance claims if there is one needed. And at the end of the day, Safeware cut a check for $1,100 to the school for that. So they're pretty reliable in that regard. I would recommend getting a case for these laptops, and I have a couple of samples here to show you. So this case here, this is made by a company called Max Cases, and it's what's called a snap-on shell. So once you put this on the MacBook, it'll stay on the whole time, and it has rubber bumpers around the side. Okay, and it still makes the computer lightweight, and it adds some durability to it. This case is about $59. There's another company called Encase. These are like 27 bucks, and it doesn't have that rubber bumper on it. It's not as durable, but it is something. There's another company, I don't have a sample from them, called Gumdrop, and they specialize in educational cases. If you do decide to get one of these cases, which I would recommend, the kicker is that these MacBooks changed size recently, so you have to be very specific about the case you're ordering. It has to be a 2019 MacBook Air with Retina display and Touch ID. That's the case that fits that MacBook. There's another 2019 case that won't fit it. Okay, and that stuff is written right there, and the presentation will be posted online if you want to reference that. Here at Clark, we have 2 email accounts. Okay, anything you do here at the school, you're going to use what we call the Clark Mail. So if you contact the guidance counselor, contact them through your Clark Mail. Don't use dragonslayer@yahoo.com, because we don't know who that is. Okay? You have to use the Clark Mail. That's how we know who you are. Your Clark Mail is your first name _ last name @clarkalc.net. That's also the single sign-on for all the Google-related services. Any college classes you're taking, and anything you're doing with the college, you're going to use what's called Rivermail. Your Rivermail is created when you register for classes, and if you don't have it right now or you're not sure what it is, don't worry. The first days of school, we're going to have an orientation for new students, and we're going to walk you through signing on to Rivermail at that time. For tonight, to sign into these laptops, for some of you, you're going to use your Clark Mail. So again, that's first name _ last name @clarkalc.net. And your password is your Martin County School District 4300 number. Here at Clark, we use 2 web-based learning content management systems. And what that is, it is a web shell that houses all the content for the course you're taking. If you're in a high school class, that course content is stored in a shell with Google Classroom. If you're in a college class, the content is stored in a shell with Blackboard. Regardless of which class you're taking, every class is live streamed as it's happening. So if you're homesick on a Wednesday and you have class taking place at 10:30, that class would be live streamed at 10:30 for you to see at home. But the live stream is 2-way. So when you're at home, you're required to have your video enabled and your audio enabled. And you may be asked a question when you're at home, and the expectation is that you would respond. If you're in Google Classroom, that 2-way communication and that platform takes place on Google Meet. And if you're in Blackboard, that takes place on Collaborate Ultra. Okay, both links for those things, one is in the Google Classroom shell and the other is in the Blackboard shell. In the event that you're not here and you're not attending school and you need support, what you would do is you would contact me, and with your permission, I can remote into your MacBook and help you with any difficulties you're having. For those of you that are watching us on a live stream and you intend to take a school computer, on the right-hand side there's a link on the home page that says sign up for an appointment to pick up your MacBook. You'll use that link and you can come either tomorrow or Monday, August 10th during your appointment time, and I'll meet you at the main entrance to give you your MacBook then. For those of you that are staying tonight, we're going to go ahead and distribute these MacBooks now. Thank you so much for coming. Goodbye to everybody on the live stream. Okay, so what we're going to do is, there's 2 scenarios for what's going to happen with the MacBooks. The very first step we need you to do is, inside the MacBook is the acceptable use policy, and that's this form right here.